We have a very interesting topic today, and we will be talking about Papyrus Berlin 11710. And this is a 6th century gospel fragment, and you can see here that I have a picture of the first page. Our subject today will be to talk about what it looks like in the Greek and the English, and to look at the images. So I hope that you enjoy. So let's start with a little introduction. This is a small fragment of Jesus' sayings. So Papyrus Berlin 11710 is a set of two little fragments of papyrus measuring 6.5 times 7.5 centimeters that records a conversation between Jesus and the disciple Nathaniel. The manuscript itself is from the 6th century, so in other words, it's from the 500s AD or so. But because it is such a small find, there is no way to find out when, where, how, why, or by whom the original source for it was written, and this is the usual situation, unfortunately. But this conversation is not clearly drawn from any canonical gospel, but it is most similar to John 1:38 and John 1:49. My reference might be wrong here. I don't think it is, but I'd have to go back and check. It might be a typo. In any case, you can just check anywhere in the early portion of John's gospel that refers to the calling of Nathaniel. So in this episode, Jesus calls Nathaniel as a disciple. Our goal today is to examine the text in Greek and English. So, this is fragment A. There are two fragments. They're named A and B, and the front side is just called recto. You can see it right here. Sorry that the images are a little bit blurry. I just got them from the Papyrus database on the Berlin Museum website. It's just amazing to be able to look at these in the first place, so I'm not complaining too much. Now this is the transcription of the Greek, and I wrote it out to match the letters as they appear in each line. And I made this using a combination of my own observations of the text as well as consulting the edition in Ehrman and Plese's collection of Apocryphal Gospels. However, unlike them, I just kept the all caps. I didn't try to change it to make it more readable in the Greek, just because I wanted to preserve how it looks like, or how it looks in the manuscript. So in English, what does this look like? It says, and said, presumably Nathaniel says this, and said, Rabbi, Lord, you are the Son of God. And the rabbi, this would be Jesus, said, Nathaniel, and then the page ends. So it will continue on the other side of the fragment. So here's the other side of fragment A. The letters are a little easier to read on this side, and we can see the Greek here, and then the English. It continues. The rabbi says, "Walk in the sun." It's about the same as "walk in the light." It's a familiar version, a different way of saying the kinds of statements that Jesus would say in the Gospels. And then Nathanael answered him and said, Rabbi, you are the Lamb. And then we have to go to the next fragment. We have to go to fragment B. And here it is. Fragment B, front side. Again, we have the letters and the lines. So the Greek is right here, and then in the English. So Nathanael had said, You are the Lamb of God that takes away the sins of the world. And then answered him the rabbi and said, and we don't know because that's it, just on the other side. We just have a little notation here that a scribe or whoever, somebody wrote instead of Greek using Coptic, and they wrote this, which just means Jesus Christ God. And then they have a little, P here for, no reason. Who knows why. It just says Jesus Christ God at the end of it. And that is the text, the Greek transcript, and the English translation. So now let's go to analyze the text a little bit more. You can see that there's more to it than what has been preserved. Right? So from these two fragments, we can see that there's a conversation between Nathaniel and Jesus. Well, much of it is lost, but enough remains for us to guess about its basic structure. So when I looked at it and thought about it a little bit, this is what I found. I think that if we were to be able to reconstruct it, it would look something like this. It would have these 5 basic parts. So we would have first Jesus making some kind of a statement, I assume a didactic or a teaching statement, because that's the only kind of statement he makes in this little set of fragments. And then right after that, Nathaniel makes a Christological statement. He says Jesus is the Son of God. Then in response, Jesus makes another didactic statement. It's an imperative, walk in the sun. So then in response to that, Nathaniel makes another Christological statement. He says, Jesus, you are the Lamb of God that takes away the sin of the world. Then in response to that, Jesus makes another statement that is also lost because we don't have the part of the text that shows what he said. I assume that it's a didactic statement, but I'm having to guess about that because the only statement we have is didactic and it's imperative. Do this, X, Y, Z. So I'm assuming that because all of Nathaniel's statements are Christological, Jesus is the Son, Jesus is the Lamb, the lost statements of Jesus are probably didactic responses to the confessions or the assertions by the disciple. Again, we don't know for sure if that's exactly how it is, but that would be my guess about what the conversation looks like. But why did this come about? What are these gospel sayings for? So scholars have suggested that these tiny pages were designed to be part of an amulet, and that's the case because they're just too small to be really a normal book, like what people usually would read in the ancient world or even today. Now, if that's true, then that is evidence that at least someone in the 500s and in the 6th century was carrying around little bitty sayings of Jesus in little boxes or little amulets, and they were using them for religious prayers or perhaps even magical practices or something like that. So this might explain the present state of the manuscript, but to me it does not really explain the source behind it. These fragments, in my view, are clearly from a larger narrative or dialogue, and we identified at least 6 hypothetical parts that had to be in the source for this manuscript. So I suspect that they might have formed an early Christian expansion or midrashic interpretation of Jesus' encounter with Nathaniel in John's Gospel. But perhaps we will create another video to discuss that topic a little bit more. But in any case, here are my sources, and I hope that you enjoyed this video, and I guess we'll talk next time. Bye.